Hey guys, Jacob here with ePoolSupply. Today, we're putting in a Pentair MasterTemp pool heater. So today we're replacing this guy with a Pentair MasterTemp. Stay tuned, and I'm going to show you front to back on how this thing's installed. All right, and we're back. So again, we're putting in a Pentair MasterTemp. Looks like, yay. So this is going to be a fun one. So first things first, always recommend the first thing you guys do, cut the power. So what I'm going to do is open up this panel. This is where all the breakers are for the entire system here. There's a bunch of pumps. There's a bunch of everything. So what I'm going to do is start killing all the breakers. This is an Aqualink, a newer one. It's got a battery backup. You don't have to really feel like you're going to lose anything. So now that my power's cut, I'm going to shut the panel, lock it back up. So then the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to remove the gas, I'm going to remove the electrical, and then remove the plumbing. So what I'm going to do first is walk over here. So when dealing with gas, when it's straight like this, the ball valve, that means it's on. So straight is on, that's off. That's how I want to keep this thing to the duration of my installation, pretty much because I don't want to be flooded with natural gas back here. So first things first, let's start taking stuff off. So here's your knuckle, your union. It is really corroded. I cannot see which way is. Yep, got it. All right. So take your knuckle off. Cool. So right there is my knuckle. There's a bunch of grease on here. That's why I like to recommend gloves. So again, there's no gas coming out of here. Now there's gas, no gas. Okay. So we want to make sure that there's no gas coming out of here. I don't want you guys to die. So now what I'm gonna do is these things usually just kind of bend and start twisting off. Whoever did this electrical, I don't even know how they did this. It's not really. They don't come factory with these clamps. So, but I'm gonna replace this because obviously this is in Phoenix, Arizona, where it's kind of the sun kind of kicks everything's butt around here. I'm gonna get this electrical out of the way so I can take the gas off. Cool. All right, so then from there, you guys can just start undoing the gas line, lefty loosey, righty tighty. This one is a little bit stiff. There we go. So you guys can use gas pipe wrenches if it's a little too hard, but usually after a while, they get pretty loose. I don't remember if this Hayward one goes all the way across the heater, which that's not bad. So I might keep this, reuse it. We'll kind of see. I'll put it off to the side for now. So my gas is removed. So now let's move on to the electrical. So if I scream, don't get mad. There might be a rat in here. So it'll be kind of fun for all of us. All right. Here, Greg, you can take that. You guys don't need to take the top off. It's just, I like to make sure I'm not working with any animals. Again, I've got Greg and I got Kyle here today, so they'll probably be popping in the video here shortly. But right now, I'm just gonna take this stuff apart. So. Ah! Okay, we're good. Good. Yeah, as you can see, this one's been leaking for a while. Wish the customer would have called us earlier. But yeah, it's ready to be replaced. So that's your gas valve. That's what the old one was plumbed into. But yeah, regardless, let's start taking more stuff apart and seeing how to disconnect all this electrical. This is an old H Series 400. This heater's pretty old. So it's lasted pretty good time. So pretty awesome how sometimes if you keep your water chemistry perfect, these heaters will last you a very long time. Sweet. So again, it gives you a big old high voltage box. That's why you want to disconnect your power, like I did in the breakers over there. So first things first, what I'm going to do is this is my automation cable coming in. So just follow your wires, and this is where when they turn it on via Aqualink, this is how it turns the heater on. And we're going to do kind of the same connection on the new MasterTemp. All right, high voltage box time. It's a good little indicator. This part's been replaced before. Somebody kind of duct taped something in here. So this heater's definitely been worked on before. No big deal. All right, so I got the electrical all disconnected. I got my whip pulled out. I'm going to replace probably the conduit on the whip. The wires look actually really solid. I'll probably strip back new copper so that way we can have some fresh copper on there at least. So now I'm going to cut out the plumbing, and then we're going to haul this thing out of here. And when I say we, I'm talking Greg and Kyle. So yeah, I'm going to go over here and cut the plumbing out. All right, I'm going to cut the plumbing out, and then we're going to haul this thing out of here. I like to use a Sawzall. On older plumbing, because if you use pipe cutters on older plumbing, especially here in hot locations where the PVC gets kind of brittle, it'll just start snapping plumbing and not create you a semi-clean line. And I love semis. So all right, plumbing's all cut out. So what we're gonna do is Greg and Kyle are gonna haul this heater out of here, and we're gonna set the new heater in its place. So. All right, now we got to go see them take the heater out, the old one. Let's bring the new one back in here. So, Kyle, Greg, you're up. All right, so this is a new heater. So pretty cool how small it is compared to the last heater. So what we're going to do first is I always recommend hooking up your gas plumbing first. Those connections aren't as forgiving as your PVC. However, we have to hard pipe this gas one. I'm not going to really tell you the specifics or how to do it, pretty much due to liability reasons. You guys can watch me do it. I always recommend a soap test at the end to kind of test for leaks. I'm sure there's videos out there that can show you guys how to hard plumb gas. If you guys need a professional gas plumber to come do this, I highly recommend that. In certain jurisdictions out there, they do allow certain braided flex lines of the gas hose. And a picture of that is here. It's sold at most department stores. Very easy. We do recommend, this is a 400,000 BTU heater. There's a certain size that you need to get, so it's not your normal 3/8 or ½ inch that's used for a barbecue grill. This is probably going to be closer to the 1 inch or the 3/4 inch. So please just read the user's manual, figure out what you need, because again, MasterTemps are offered everything from a 125, I think, all the way up to a 400,000 BTU. So every heater is different requirements for how much gas supply it's going to need. There's also an international gas metric chart and all kinds of stuff that you guys need to figure out for gas. So gas is a kind of an animal of its own. You guys can watch me do it. I'm not really going to dive into specifics. So we're going to do gas, electric, and then finish with plumbing, and then fire this thing up. All right, guys, we're back. So we're going to start with the gas plumbing. First things first, I'm going to turn this heater sideways, take off the back panel because that's where the gas valve is. This is a hard pipe situation, so it's going to be fun. So, all right, let's get rolling. So as you can see, my gas valve is right here. What I need to do is that needs to be my first connection, get it out of the heater. So that way I know how to line this up. And then from there, I want to meet everything back to here. So, yippee-i-o. All right, guys. So, got my connection out of the gas valve from Pentair in here. The first thing that you're going to do before you button up the side of the panel is there's a gas switch in here. Pentair ships them off. So it's a real pain in the butt after you do everything. Then you have to take this panel back off and just turn a button on. So what we'll do is we'll include a picture of what this valve looks like with the on and off. That way you guys can see what it looks like, and it literally says off and on. So I'm gonna turn it to on right now. And now I'm gonna film the rest of this thing. I'm gonna put the panel back on and finish the rest of the gas. So what I like to do, some people don't, it's the only intro that I'm gonna give you for the gas, is kind of give it a rough plumb to here and then tighten all your connections. Pentair gives you this thing to kind of A, weatherproof the system, or B, rat-proof the system. If you guys are using a flex connector, definitely use this thing. But I put my coupling in right there to kind of close the gap. I'll still probably just thread this thing on here and screw it on there, but this is the only thing that kind of is like your last step of rodent prevention. Pentair was really bad back in the day on rodent prevention for their heaters. Rats used to get inside all the time and eat everything up. They changed their louver style on the outside to these real small vents. So now they're advertising that these heaters are now rodent proof. So it's pretty awesome upgrade that they did on these heaters now. So yeah, we're gonna put this thing on. Hi guys, so my gas is in. I have this gas leak detection solution, which to be honest with you is soapy water, mostly just probably dish soap. But put it on every connection. When it starts boiling, that means you have a leak. It's like bubbling, not boiling. So I'll test every connection to make sure that we don't have any bubbles coming up. Again, it's just soapy water. It'll hose right off. All right, everybody, I'm back. So we're going to take off the front of the heater now. So we did the back of the heater. Now we're going to do the front of the heater for the electrical. That's where the electrical compartment is. Pretty much where the keypad comes from the manufacturer. Right below it is where the electrical components are. I'm going to undo it and then run a new conduit. I'm going to keep the same electrical wires. They don't seem bad. It's just the conduit's a little stiff and cracking, and I kind of want to get that replaced. So pretty straightforward. It's hot here. I think it's like 100 degrees now in Phoenix, so that's why I'm drenched. All right, so as you see, I've got my cover plate here for my electrical that kind of feeds where the wires are kind of coming in through here. So first thing I'm going to do is pull my wires back out of there. There's one green one, which is also bonded on the outside of there. That's going to stay. And then as you see this cover, it has this hex right here, but people also don't know that you don't need to loosen that. So all you have to do is pull it away and then slide it up. And there's like a little trick there. So what I'm going to do first is my electrical conduit 90 is a 1/2 inch. this is what actually goes on the outside here for my new conduit whip. And then this little nut is what's going to thread onto the inside and keep that thing in place. So it's hard to see from you guys, but just trust me that I'm threading this thing on right now. Perfect. So now that that's there, I've got these wires here. I'm going to cut my new whip and then run my old wires here, inside here, and leave them out here. It's ready to wire nut. So get up. So what I'm going to do is this is my electrical conduit. So I'm going to loosen it from this panel side. Please don't be any spiders. So I got my wires. Yeah, look how crooked this thing is. That's pretty solid. And then I'll put those there. I'm going to cut off a little piece of new conduit. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to rough how long I need. I'll cut to fit. Okay, so now got my conduit, a good range, and then I'm going to unloosen this one. Take the guts out of here. This one's a crappy one. Thread this on. Maybe. There we go. Okay. And then these two go just how you took it off. And this is a thread-on version. It's like extra watertight is what they advertise. Wires are going to go inside. Hey, Kyle, would you mind grabbing the wires out there as I throw them in there? Got them? Keep going. Good. All right. We have a nice watertight connection now, which is awesome. So if it rains, storms, tornado, no water is going to get in here. So that's what we want. We don't want water and electricity. Doesn't make sense. So pretty awesome. The bond wire for the old heater wasn't hooked up. So that's a big no-no in the pool industry. So with a bond wire and a heater, if you don't bond your heaters, it actually turns the heater into a glorified salt cell and starts corroding out your heat exchanger. So please make sure you bond your pool heaters. So we'll bond this one some point in the video. So let me hop back over here and hook up this electrical. Greg, tackle box, 3 wire nuts. All right, so we cut these a fit. Strip them down a little bit. Thanks, Kyle. I'm wiring this heater for 240 volts, okay? So it's 220 to 240. This neighborhood has 240 volts. And I will show you guys in a little bit on how to do a 110 connection. If you do 110, there's no going back because if it is 220 coming in and you put in the 110 plug, you officially blew your heater. So please make sure you do a voltage test to make sure which voltage you do have coming in to your pool heater. And I think Kyle said too, if you guys have like the 125, MasterTemp. I think it comes with like a power cord, so which is kind of crazy that you can just plug it in and go. Okay, wire nuts in there. So now what I do is just fold these wires back into this little crevice. Because they all need to sit inside this nice little area to be also safe from rodents, water, etc. And if you notice, there's a little groove on the side of the heater right here. That's where you want your wires to kind of end. So when I do fold this thing back down, the wires actually have somewhere to poke out. Voila, we're good. So my high voltage is connected. Now it's time to work on the low voltage. So what I'm going to do is take my flathead screwdriver, and if I remember right, Greg, does these come top down? Yeah. You want to take out this top screw up here, which is really hard to see, but there's a top screw holding in this panel. It is also, I believe, a 3/8 hex, which is probably easier to use, but I don't have one of those right now. Holy monkey. I'm going to loosen it with these. Okay, try this again. There we go. Loosen it. Panel comes down. Pretty cool. So, my low voltage cable. This guy. You can run a new one if you want to. This one seems pretty good condition. So my biggest gripe with all these heater manufacturers is honestly, I think that they should have created like a Pentair would be perfect if they actually did like the same automation plug like their IntelliFlow had, where you can just plug in the automation cable and go to the heater or go to wherever you need to go. But unfortunately, they don't even give you an opening to run your low voltage wire. So they always ask that you just run it through like one of these open louver spots, which is kind of weird in my opinion, but whatever. Cool. All right, so there's a yellow clip in the bottom of this heater. It's called the fireman switch. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to pull that out. And then what you're going to do is create the new connections on here to actually work with it. I have these in my tackle box. Some people wire nut them so you can cut it in half if you don't have these connectors, these electrical connectors. Or if you have the electrical connectors to crimp on these wires, which I don't know if these solid wires are actually rated for the crimps. So I'm probably just going to have wire nutting it. If you have smaller wire nuts in there, it's just one size fits all in there, Kyle. So then these little butt connectors just kind of go right back where you had them. It doesn't matter which side goes where. I think we'll probably make another video on how to actually connect this so we can get up all in there nice and deep and show you guys what it looks like inside there. All right, so that's connected. I'm going to throw that in there. So again, like I talked about before, this is 220. You're going to see a red and a black plug. So if you see the black plug, it says 120 volts. The red one comes factory at 240 or 220. Please make sure that you have 120 coming into this thing before you wire it up 120, because if you guys mess that up, there is no going back. If you have 120 coming in with the 240 in there, it's not a big deal. The heater's just not going to work. And then you can voltage test and figure it out from there. But the other way, you can go down in power, but not up in power. You hook it up, you just fried this board. So again, please make sure you have 120 before you do it. this black plug snaps into place where the red plug is. So again, this is a 240 system, so we're gonna leave it as is. So right now, I'm gonna pop my panel back up, close the system up, tighten. That's stupid. Oh man, where'd this hex thing come out of nowhere from? Tighten that thing up, and now I'm gonna button my panel back up, and then we can work on our plumbing. All right, guys, so we got our gas done, we got our electric done, now it's gonna work on the plumbing. As you guys can see here, there is a salt system on this job, and whoever did this before put a nice check valve on here. It should be a chemical check valve, so it could maybe get swapped out one of these days, but check valves usually work just as good. You just gotta watch them, maybe replace them once every year or 2 years, because you don't want the chlorine gas that the salt cell creates to travel back to the heater, because then again, it'll corrode that heater. So that's why that check valve is installed. So what I got here is my inlet is over here is this pipe, my outlet is this pipe. On the heater, my inlet's on top, my outlet's on bottom. So I'm gonna cut, glue, conform, get this all back together. So Pentair gives us these nice unions. What we recommend is throwing a dab of lube on these O-rings for these unions. Unions for all manufacturers. Literally every single manufacturer will say they want you to hand tighten these unions. So please do not take channel locks to these unions ever. It'll break them because you're going to feel like you just have to tighten the heck out of them. This is not like gas plumbing. This is just brittle PVC. It will break. So I'm going to lube them and then put my unions on. I recommend Magic Lube number 2, by the way. Number 2 is by far the superior lube to regular Magic Lube number 1, or they have a Kevlar or something like base one now, or it's kind of weird. But use the red one, red tube, Magic Lube number 2. It's the best one by far. It lasts the longest, especially if you guys have backwash valves for sand filters, DE filters. The number 2, it will make it nice and easy to pull that thing up and down. The only bad part is don't get on your clothes. It's real sticky. Just kidding. And tight. Ugh. All right, cool. So now I'm gonna start cutting. All right, Craig. Stay low. All right, pipes are plumbed. We are golden, you guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean up our mess. We're going to paint these pipes, and then we're going to fire the system up, test it, and show you what you need to set on the actual digital keypad here to make sure it works with automation. All right, so we are done doing the installation of this heater. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to fire it up, test it, and I'm going to show you guys on the keypad what you got to do for any type of automation. If you even have a Hayward Goldline system, any type of Pentair automation like an Easy Touch, IntelliTouch, IntelliCenter, IntelliConnect, IntelliSync, I mean, they can go on for hours, or an Aqualink like this customer has here. So what I'm going to do, let's turn the breakers on. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this thing in timeout, so that way I can actually test this thing out. I'm going to press filter, and then I'm going to press heater. And then I have power. Woo! I just turned the heater off. That's the big off button. You have pool and spa. So what you want to do is go to pool first, and you want to turn this thing all the way up to 104. So the idea here is with automation is that the Aqualink temperature sensor here that's tied into the plumbing is what's going to actually control the temperature. So when, say, the Aqualink is set to like 96, the Aqualink will then turn the heater off. So you always have to make sure you set these maxes to 104. And then you have to instruct the homeowner, please don't touch the heater, because what's going to happen is they're going to want to touch this heater, and then all of a sudden they're going to try to set in their aqualung, and it's not going to work. And boom, my heater just fired. So what's going to happen is going to make some weird noises when it first starts up. This thing's only been fired once at the factory. And then they also coated everything in a like an oil for shipping and like just preservation is what it is. So you're gonna have this weird like sweet smell. I don't even know how to explain it. I don't know what it smells like. It's all normal, guys. If you see smoke coming out of your heater, turn your heater off, turn the breakers off. Something wrong happened. But instantly this thing should fire up. If it's a newer installation, there might be some gas in air in the gas line. So you might actually have to loosen this knuckle here and then feed the gas through. Because sometimes these can be run for up to 200 feet, and this thing will fire 3 times and shut off until you reset the system. So you want to loosen this knuckle till you smell gas, tighten that knuckle. Obviously, you want to turn this off and turn that on. See, I just shut the heater off by doing that. This thing has a lot of fail safes. It's a great heater, solid. You guys, we highly, highly, highly recommend these Pentair MasterTemp heaters. If you guys look at the links below, we have all the listings that we sell on our website for this heater. We'll ship it directly to your door. Pretty awesome. And then also we have, I think, more of the part numbers that aren't listed on the website, which they do consider trade grade. But virtually there is no difference between trade grade and e-commerce heaters. But yeah, so this exact heater we can actually send straight to your doorstep. You guys, I'm Jacob with ePoolSupply. Today we installed a Pentair MasterTemp heater. Please click that subscribe button. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.